Welcome to today's deep dive. I mean, imagine intentionally conceiving a child with a dying, brain-damaged soldier just to bypass the whole societal expectation of marriage.
Right. It is definitely a heavy, a very wild premise.
Yeah, and that is the starting point of John Irving's 1978 tragicomic novel, The World According to Garp.
Okay, let's unpack this because that fiercely independent mother, Jenny Fields, well, she ends up writing this accidental feminist manifesto called Sexually Suspect.
She does, yeah. And her total rejection of the traditional path, it really sets the tone for the whole story.
Yeah.
I mean, the book is essentially a masterclass in how we humans use fiction to process mortality,
Yeah.
and deep-seated anxiety and rapidly shifting gender norms.
Exactly. And Jenny's defiance, it creates this direct ripple effect that completely flips the script on her son Garp's own domestic life decades later.
Oh, absolutely. Because he adopts a role that was, well, highly unconventional for the 1970s.
Right, he becomes a stay-at-home dad.
Yeah, stay-at-home dad who cooks, cleans, and is just obsessively protecting his two sons, Duncan and Walt. Which leads us to the undertow, right?
Yes. What's fascinating here is the specific mechanism driving that obsession. The undertow actually stems from his child mishearing the word undertow at the beach.
Oh, like the ocean current.
Exactly.
No.
But for Garp, this imaginary undertow, it becomes the ultimate symbol for the ever-present lurking doom of random danger. Like he feels he can practically smell it.
Man, that is like trying to meticulously child-proof your house against a tornado. You were just exhausting yourself preparing for entirely the wrong disaster.
That is a great way to put it.
But let me push back on this obsession a bit. Doesn't his hyperfixation on external physical safety actually, well, invite tragedy right into his own home?
It totally does. It
Yeah.
absolutely blinds him to the emotional rot happening right under his nose.
Wow.
Yeah, Garp is so intensely focused on protecting his kids from outside physical threats that he completely misses his wife Helen's affair.
So the threat was internal all along.
Right, and that internal chaos is what ultimately triggers the tragedy. Coming home early in the dark, well, Garp crashes his car directly into Helen's parked car in their own driveway while she is with her lover.
That is just awful.
It is devastating. Young Walt is killed, and the crash results in these bizarre, violent mutilations. Like, Duncan loses an eye, and the lover suffers a severe anatomical amputation.
The irony there is brutal. I mean, he spent his whole life guarding against the undertow, and he is the one driving the car.
Yeah, exactly.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. Because Garp couldn't stop the undertow in reality, he tries to control this chaos the only way he knows how.
Right, by metabolizing his trauma directly into his novels.
Yes.
He forces the bizarre violence and grief of his life right onto the page, and his fictional universe mirrors the extreme radical elements he has to navigate in his real life.
Like the Alan Jamesians.
Yeah.
And just to be clear, for everyone listening, we are reporting on this politically charged movement entirely impartially. We are
Yeah.
simply conveying the concepts from the source material here.
Of course. So, in the novel, the Ellen Jamesians are a radical political movement of women who voluntarily cut out their own tongues, and they do this to protest a horrific assault on a young girl.
Right, a very intense ideology.
Very. And Garp harbors an absolute disdain for them, mainly because their ideology of self-mutilation fundamentally clashes with his own desperate, obsessive need to protect and preserve life.
That makes sense. And while Garp is writing his life into fiction to gain control, there is this massive metal layer happening above him.
Oh, you mean the parallels with John Irving himself?
Exactly. Irving shares striking similarities with Garp. I mean, both grew up without knowing their biological fathers. Both wrestled at Prec School, Irving at Exeter, and Garp at Steering.
And both spent formative time in Vienna, too.
Yeah. Even their development as writers directly mirrors one another.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, Irving is essentially using Garp to look in the mirror. The novel is a chaotic, sometimes comical, but ultimately beautiful realization that despite all our frantic attempts to control our environment, well, we are all terminal cases.
So what does this all mean? For you, listening to this deep dive, it is a stark look at how we handle the things we simply cannot control.
Yeah, we all have an underlying current of dread.
Right, our own undertow that we just have to figure out how to live with.
And trying to violently outsmart it might just be the very thing that triggers it.
Which brings up a final thought to leave you with today. If your deepest anxieties were written into a novel, would your attempts to control them act as a protective shield, or would they become the very undertow that pulls you under?